this is great and not sin. Somebody want to read it? Remember what you got from the past knowledge that you not include all the ways of God. So it says here, and to know the love of God, meaning to have the love of God, which surpasses all knowledge, that you might be filled with the fullness of God. So he wants to fill us with his fullness. Somebody want to do Ephesians 4:6-13. We need to dedicate our lives, dedicate our people to the Lord. the image and the habits of the river of Egypt. Back in the Old Testament, they set aside days of feast, and it would be like 7 days of feasting. What would happen if we would set aside for 7 days and say, God, I'm going to block this period of time for you. Whatever period of time that is for you, if it's an hour or 2 hours, certain time of the day, that you dedicate yourself and you fast plan yourself, the Lord, I'm going to do this for 7 days. And then with that, get some meals. What do you think would happen? On the 8th day, what would happen if we set aside 7 days to feast on God's word instead of feasting on the physical world? We do so often, I'm guilty, we feast on the gardens of this world. For 7 days when the time of time we really get it all. The Lord says when we say, Lord, I'm going to dedicate, and I'm going to sacrifice 1 hour for you every day, and really get into prayer, and really get alone with you. And you sacrifice. What do you think would happen? I think God really clears to us. Verse 9 says, in 8 days they made fires in the temple. They kept the dedication of the altar 7 days and the feast for 7 days. Okay, so they kept the feast for 7 days. But then after that 7th day on the 8th day, what do you think it would be like if we came after that on the 8th day and assembled together? After we all dedication and fasted and set aside, a portion of our time to God. Then we come together and assemble. If fire can come down, we would up to our prayers. If fire can down and conclude this was also the prayer, just say, how many people here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We just say, and then we come together and assemble. If the fire can come down on us individually, and the fire can come down in the body on the corporately, and we come together. That's what God wants to do. He wants to fill us with His presence. And on the 3 and the 20th day of the 7th month, set the people away in their tents, glad in Mary and heart, for the goodness that the Lord has shown, as the day that His Solomon and to Israel and His people. Talk about how Solomon had been building the house of the Lord. No physical house of the Lord, literally building the temple literally. Verse 12 and 22, God appears before Solomon. Verse 12 says, and the Lord appeared to Solomon by night, and said unto him, I have heard thy prayer, and I have chosen this place for myself, for an house of sacrifice. God is not, the Old Testament is symbolic of the New God. Everything in the Old Testament still speaks of Jesus. What would happen if God appeared to us in night, and He said, I have heard your prayer, and I've chosen you. I've chosen to myself this temple, this sacrifice, that you have sacrificed to me. And then verse 13 says, if I set up heaven and there be no rain, He's not talking about natural rain. He's talking about the rain of His glory. He's talking about the rain of His anointing, the flow of His anointing we've been talking about, that heavy flow. Or like when the locusts devour the land, or the pestilence among the people. God wants to pour out His glory upon us. I think God wants to start appearing to us at night. I think He wants to start sending some angels our way, and we're going to actually see those angels. We're going to see those angels. God is too strong to lose. Verse 14, the most important verse. And you know what? I thought about this verse. A lot of people quote this verse, but they always quote it wrong. They never quote it for what it is. Most people quote it and they're saying we need out. One of the things that we out of it is humble all the time, humble themselves, and keep my faith. And you don't want to listen to people that skip it. Because I've listened to those before and I've heard different people teach it, and they don't quote it for what it says. They leave things out. I think, why is those, there are very important things that they leave out, and because they don't want people to know. People don't want to humble themselves, and people don't want to teach their own faith. And yet they don't want to listen to it. So we know what it is. Yeah, that's why I'm on the video. That's another important thing that we have.
That's how you do that.
Yes. That's all we'll do, like he said. They focus, but they're only quoting what they're doing on. But it says, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves. That's the first thing he tells us to do, humble ourselves. And pray, and keep my faith. And then he tells us number 4, to turn from their wicked ways. He's telling us 4 things to do here, and then what we should do if we do these things. And he's not talking about the sinners, he's talking about his people, God's people. When I used to be at work at Freightliner, well, he said in the booth, we had lots of stuff in his home, and he said, I know you got a word on you, I know you got a word of God, and give us that word, and give us that word. And I said to him, I didn't want to speak it, but this was the word that God gave me. And I didn't want to say it. And he goes, yes, and so I said, if my people are called by my name, will humble themselves, and pray, and keep my faith, and turn from the wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven and I will rule it right. You know what? Nobody said they would accept it because I didn't do it word. They didn't want to hear it. We got to be able to accept. If we want God to give us a word, then we got to be able to accept the word that God gives us. Whether it comes with the building or religion. You know, and most people don't. But it says, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land. So there's 4 things we got to do, and God said that He will forgive their sin. You know that we can pray for the sins of this world, and there's so many things in this world. And everybody looks at this silly little rabbit with the bill, and it's the second from way out of the way of God. We need to be, as God's people, we need to be praying for America, praying for their sins that they will be delivered, and we need to be the ones that are seeking God, seeking to stay humble ourselves and praying, instead of getting caught up into all the arguments and all the arguments about this and that. Who cares? It's arguments. I'm going to see something that's on my life. If we're going to be God's people, then we need to be living like God's people. That's why the world don't feel no different. We need to be carrying that glory of the Lord. Let's go to James 4:10. And we all fail once. I fail once. Which is, you're not going to say yes, that's okay. I'm still a work in progress. Go ahead.
14:6. The promise of this everyone in the mighty name of God, who made God in due time, casting out the care upon him, and he cares for you.